Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this special live Q&A session, giving you information about applications to the Managing Art and Cultural Heritage in Global Markets, or MAGMA, Erasmus Mundus International Master Programme. And in particular, we're focusing on information and questions that you might have about the scholarship application process for entry to the programme in 2026. I am delighted to welcome you all as MAGMA Programme Director. My name is Alan Madden. I'm a lecturer in History of Art at the University of Glasgow, and I'm delighted to be joined by my colleague Amy Hogg, who is the International Development Manager in the College of Arts and Humanities and is also the MAGMA Programme Manager. And you'll be hearing from Amy shortly with some useful information about the practicalities around the application process. So how this session will be structured is really down to you as the audience. We will be dedicating the vast majority of our time in this session. We'll be dedicating that to questions that you submit, and you can submit those questions in the chat. I know that some questions have come in already, and we'll be coming to those shortly. So yes, any questions that you have about the program, about the nature of the program structure, the partners, the mobility periods, or the scholarship application process, we're here to answer any questions that you might have. But before we do that, I'll just give a very brief introduction to the program. I'll say a little bit about the program structure, and I'll say a little bit about the program content, and then I'll hand over to my colleague Amy, who will be talking about some of the practical issues around the scholarship application process. And once we do that, then we'll be handing over to you, and we'll be taking your questions in turn. So I can see lots of comments are coming in already. People are introducing themselves from all over the world. So it's absolutely fantastic to see so much engagement. So yeah, I really look forward to answering your questions soon. But if we just proceed with the slides that you can see on screen here, I'll just say a few words about the nature of MAGMA as a program. The first and maybe most obvious point to make about MAGMA is that it is an Erasmus Mundus International Master program. That means that you will get the benefit of receiving teaching from 5 different higher education institutions in the United Kingdom, the University of Glasgow, as well as elsewhere in Europe. The best thing, to my mind, about these Erasmus Mundus programs is the amazing opportunities that it offers students in terms of student mobility. You will actually be living in and immersing yourself in the culture of these amazing cities, these amazing countries in Europe. You'll begin your journey in Lisbon in semester 1. So if you apply to the program and you're successful in your application and you come and join us all on the program in September of 2026, you'll begin that journey in Lisbon with our partners, the University Institute of Lisbon and the University of Lisbon. You will then continue that journey in semester 2 in Paris with our partner IESA Arts and Culture there in Paris. In semester 3, that is in the first semester of your second year on the program, you will then journey to Rotterdam, to colleagues at Erasmus University Rotterdam. And then in the 4th semester, you can choose whichever institution you would like to return to, or in the case of Glasgow, you may choose to visit here for the first time and have your dissertation supervised by an academic at one of those institutions. So yes, this is where MAGMA will take you in terms of the program structure and the role of the partners. You will spend time in at least three amazing European cities: Lisbon, Paris, and Rotterdam. And you may also choose to come to Glasgow or one of these three cities in your fourth semester. So the program is structured across 2 years, 4 semesters, these mobility periods, where you will, as I say, have this amazing opportunity to immerse yourself in the art scene, in the cultural environment of these incredibly culturally rich cities. But you will also have the additional opportunity to participate in a MAGMA seasonal school. So these can change year on year. So I won't say too much about the seasonal schools at this time. But in previous years, we have had seasonal schools which take place in the summer of the first year of the program. So this is after you've completed your studies in Lisbon and in Paris. You could choose to come to, say, a summer school um, at the University of Glasgow, hosted by one of our key associate partners. In the past, this has included the Hunterian Museum and Art Gallery at the University of Glasgow, but also we've had a school run from partners at the Smithsonian Institution. So colleagues from the Smithsonian journey to Glasgow and host a school on topics such as, say, cultural heritage rescue, cultural heritage preservation. So you may choose to do a school in the summer of year one, or you may choose to go slightly further afield and to visit with colleagues in Mumbai, specifically at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai, another one of our key associate partners on the MAGMA program, who run a winter school. And we have a cohort of students right now who are in the process of preparing to travel to Mumbai and engage in further study there, and are incredibly excited to do so. So MAGMA really will literally, as a program, will take you perhaps to places in the world that you have always wanted to visit, but have never had the opportunity to do so. You will have the opportunity not just to visit, but to live and study in these cities. So that's a little bit about the program structure. In terms of its academic content, well, as the title of the program suggests, Managing Art and Cultural Heritage in Global Markets, the program is particularly focused on preparing you as a kind of next generation of scholars in the arts and cultural heritage field, for all of the current issues, key debates that you need to know about to forge a career in the arts and cultural heritage sector. So again, another great benefit of an Erasmus Mundus program in which we have a consortium of partner institutions coming together to deliver this program is that you have the benefit of this multidisciplinary approach. So across the 4 semesters of study, you will receive teaching from myself and colleagues of mine at the University of Glasgow. Our courses will be delivered online. You will also receive teaching from colleagues at the University Institute of Lisbon and the University of Lisbon in semester one, at IESA Arts and Culture Paris in semester two, and at Erasmus University Rotterdam in semester three. And across these semesters, you will cover topics such as the cultural context, socio-historical context of art and cultural heritage, legal and ethical aspects of managing cultural heritage sites and cultural heritage resources, as well as collections management and collections histories, the dynamics between public and private sectors in the art market, evolving perceptions of value in art and culture, and sustainable models for global art and heritage industries. And within these broad topics, specific courses might change year on year, but you could expect to engage with courses on topics like the history of collecting. There will be art history courses, courses on art markets, fundraising for the arts, management foundations, economics of cultural heritage, economics of cultural tourism, a real range of courses delivered by specialists in the field at these amazing higher education institutions. So MAGMA is a really exciting and dynamic program because of the places that it can take you. It's also an incredibly interesting and engaging program in terms of its content and the options open to you to forge particular study tracks and ultimately to forge career pathways. So I can see quite a lot of questions have already come in. I don't want to delay too long before we start to get to these, but I'm more than happy to cover any further points about program content, program structure, or maybe even a little bit more information about the seasonal schools when we come on to the Q&A section. But Amy, I wonder if we move on to the next slide, I think we'll start to get to, I think probably the question that so many people will have already in the chat about how they actually go about applying for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So Amy, if I can perhaps hand over to you for now, and then once you've completed this section, we can then go to the Q&A.
Yep, that's great. Thanks very much, Alan. Hi, everyone. As Alan mentioned at the start, my name's Amy Hogg, and I'm the MAGMA Programme Manager. So I'm here to answer your questions about the scholarship application specifically. So applications for the programme for September 2026 entry opened on October 1st of this year, and our scholarship applications also opened on the 1st of October. So as you can see here on the slide, the deadline for our scholarship applications is the 19th of January. So there's still quite some time to get your application in. We have extensive instructions and information on our website, so would really encourage you to read through the website before you submit your application, and also before you contact the MAGMA inbox, because a lot of the answers to your queries are on the website. But if we move on to the next slide. So the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, as I said, there's a lot of information on our website, but overall the scholarship covers your tuition fees. So your tuition fees would be waived as an Erasmus Mundus scholarship holder. You would also receive travel insurance for the 2 years on the programme, which is administered by the University of Glasgow. And you would also, on top of that, receive a monthly stipend, which is meant as a contribution to your monthly rent and any visa fees, if that's applicable to you, and just general cost of living in the various cities that you're going to be living in MAGMA. And moving on to the next slide, I think we have an overview of what the tuition fees are for the programme. So obviously, as I said, if you are successful in your scholarship application, these fees would be waived. But we also are open to self-funded students. And when you apply, if unfortunately your scholarship application is unsuccessful, you would still have the opportunity to pay a deposit and join us as a self-funded student. And many of our previous applicants have been able to source alternative funding to be able to join the programme as a self-funded student. So it is possible. But there's a lot of information on the website, so we would encourage you to read that, but you're also very welcome to contact the MAGMA programme directly with any specific questions about the scholarship. And I think at that point we will open up for questions, Alan.
Excellent. Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks very much, Amy, for that. I think that was really useful, but I'm sure people will have some further questions. I can see quite a lot are in the chat. So if it's okay with you, Amy, I'll maybe just start working my way through these. If there are any that I can answer, I will. And if there are any that are a little maybe more around the process, then you can come in and answer those as well. So let me just have a check here. Okay, so we have a question here from Harise Cornelio. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I have a question. I graduated in August of 2022. I'm now enrolled in a post-degree course, which isn't a master's program. So this would be 3-ish years of a study gap. And would that be an issue? Well, I think if I've understood your question correctly, and please do come back and correct me in the chat if I've misunderstood. Really, you're just suggesting that because you've been out of formal education, perhaps for 3 years, would it still be appropriate for you to apply for a place on the master's program, on the MAGMa program? And yes, absolutely. We receive applications from a really broad range of individuals. Some will apply to MAGMA immediately upon completing their undergraduate studies. We have had instances of students apply to MAGMA who already have one master's degree, but they see the MAGMA program as an amazing opportunity to further their studies, and so they're applying with an undergraduate and a master's degree. Some individuals will have been out of formal education for really quite some time, but may have engaged in either voluntary activities or may have already pursued a career in some capacity in the arts and cultural heritage field, and they're able to bring to the program, therefore, not just an academic background in the relevant areas that the program covers, but they're also able to offer a little of their own professional experience, voluntary experience, and just life experience, really. So no, 3 years of a gap between formal education finishing and wishing to restart MAGMA would be no problem whatsoever. So I hope you will certainly consider applying. Straight underneath this one, I see we've got a question from Betita, who says that they have a professional letter. Okay, so this so you have a reference letter that was issued in December of 2024, which comes from a previous job. Since then, you've participated in different projects, freelance projects, events, and would the reference letter issued in December of 2024 suffice? Well, for any questions of this nature, any of you who are in a similar position who think I have a letter from this time or I have particular queries, the MAGMA website with all of the information that you have around eligibility criteria and application is really useful. I do know that for references, we usually would require references to be dated within the last 2 years. So if you do have a reference letter that is within that 2-year period, that's fine. If you have something that you think might be on the borderline, if you have something that you're really uncertain about, then yes, please do check the eligibility criteria, the application materials, and also for anything that relates to admissions. I can see on screen here, you can submit an inquiry to the admissions team. So if there are any of you who are in a similar position to that of Betita, who have a similar question, then yes, please feel free to direct any queries either to the webpage or to the admissions inquiries. Okay, thank you very much. We've got a really good question here from Katie Proctor. This is a question that we get every year. Katie, you won't be surprised to hear. Please, could you say a little about what makes a successful scholarship application? Well, I guess this is the question that, again, so many of you will have. Some of you who are attending this session may have already submitted your scholarship application. Others of you might be working on an application right now, and some of you might have attended this session having really not looked too closely at the application materials, but you might then be starting to think about it. So it's a really good question. It's also in some ways quite a difficult question to answer, because one of the real strengths of the MAGMA program is not just what we can offer you in terms of the breadth of the program, the diversity of experience of the academics who lecture on, who teach on the program, but it's also about the breadth of experience that you would bring to it as applicants, as students on the program. The MAGMA cohort, and I'm really pleased to see on screen we've got a lovely photograph of one of our MAGMA cohorts. The MAGMA cohort comes to us from lots of different countries all around the world, and bring with them such a huge range of experience. So distilling that into maybe a few key points or a few key things is really hard. What I would say, and what I always advise interested applicants, people who are working on their applications, is to ensure that the application really speaks to who you are and what you will bring personally on an individual level to the program. You might have a really strong academic background in a really close, relevant area to the MAGMA program. You might have studied, say, art history or collections history or arts management or economics. And you will want to talk about that a lot in your application. Some of you might be coming to the program with slightly different experience. You might not necessarily have academic experience in a closely related field, but you might nevertheless have done a lot of voluntary work in art galleries or in museums or some other kind of arts institution, or you might have already got some really great professional experience, again, in one of these areas. So look really closely at the program web pages. Ensure that you've got a really clear sense of what this program is about, what we cover, who the academics that teach on the program are, what our areas of specialism are, and ensure that what you would bring is a really good match to the program. And then, please just, include everything about your personal experience that you think might be relevant in there. Don't worry about talking about things that might be voluntary instead of professional experience. Don't worry about things that were maybe quite a few years ago, or in some way less recent. Please do include anything that you think might be relevant to the program. And please also use that as a way of giving us some evidence of your interest, of your passion in this area. So don't just make blanket statements like, I love art, I've always loved art, I'm really interested in art and culture. Tell me about the kind of galleries that you visit. Tell me about the cultural heritage spaces and sites that you're interested in. Tell me about where you see MAGMA taking you. That, to me, is what makes a successful scholarship application. So thanks very much, Katie, for your question, and I hope that in some ways helped to answer it. Okay, so oh, sorry, I'm seeing that you've got some follow-ups here, Katie, about your degree isn't directly related to the MAGMA course, extracurriculars or other experience. And you've also got a follow-up question about if a scholarship application is not successful, are there any other ways of securing funding? Yes, so obviously the MAGMA scholarship is something that Amy and I have in-depth knowledge and awareness of. In terms of additional funding opportunities or scholarship opportunities, I believe at the University of Glasgow, we should have a link to potential other scholarships or sources of funding. that we can perhaps, if we have that, we can maybe put that in the chat. But we do know that some students on the program, self-funded students, are also able to seek out other opportunities for funding. I don't know if you've got any specific information on that, Amy, or no,
No.
or just...
So the students who come as self-funded but have found an alternative source of funding, it's entirely self-sourced. Unfortunately, the program team are not involved with that. But we just wanted to highlight that it is possible. But I know that is obviously quite challenging in itself to find the funding. So have a look at the link that's been shared by the University of Glasgow, but I know that our partners might have equivalent web pages that you can look at as well. But it is entirely self-sourced by the applicant, and we're not too involved with that. On the topic, Alan, I'm just looking down the question list. There's a question about the offer letters and just general timeline around the scholarship. So when you apply for the scholarship, when you apply for the program, you will download a scholarship application form and submit that along with your program application. So they're submitted at the same time. Our admissions team are then reviewing applications to make sure that you're meeting the entry requirements for the program. And at that point, you will hopefully receive a program offer if you have met all entry requirements. But the program offer letter at that point will clearly state that this is not an offer for the scholarship, as the scholarship results will be announced in April of 2026. So the application deadline for scholarships is the 19th of January, and then there's around a 3-month reviewing process where we work with the consortium partners to review the applications. But you should before then receive your program offer. And that way, if you are unsuccessful with your scholarship application, you at least have the program offer, and you can then make the choice if you wish to join or are able to join as a self-funded student. But yeah, as I said, scholarship results will be announced in April of next year.
Yeah, no, that's really great, Amy. Just to again just give our attendees a sense of the timelines involved. And yes, I spotted there was a question from someone saying if I was unsuccessful in my scholarship application, can I still apply as a self-funded student? And absolutely, of course, we've been very happy to welcome onto the program so far, not just scholarship, but also self-funded students. So yes, we've got a question here from Winter. I currently work in customer relations / sales. I'm hoping to transition into arts and cultural heritage management. What do scholarship committees usually look for in career changers like me? Well, that's really fantastic to hear. And I would say that what we're looking for, if you don't feel that you have the academic or kind of professional background that is a close fit to the MAGMa program, that doesn't mean, of course, that you can't still submit an application. People in your circumstances, Winter, where you're seeking to make this change and fulfill this desire for a career change into arts and cultural heritage, I guess this is where we would then look more at you being able to demonstrate in some way that you have this deep interest in, this dedication to, this passion for the arts and cultural heritage field more broadly. So you might want to talk about what you then do in your time outside of work. If your professional links aren't a close fit to the program, well, then you might then want to say about art galleries, museums, cultural heritage sites, spaces that are of particular interest to you. If you do have any experience of internships or work placements or any kind of volunteering in this area, or you more broadly in the areas of cultural heritage tourism, and so on. That's maybe the kind of thing that you would seek to emphasize in your application. And also, you might find that there are some links that you haven't maybe considered previously between your current profession and what the MAGMA program seeks to do, because of course the program is interested in managing art and cultural heritage in global markets. So it is looking at aspects of the management side of things that you might be able to draw on from, say, customer relations and sales. Your experience and knowledge of this particular area, you might then be seeking to apply that to a specific art and cultural heritage area. So there might still be links, there might be connections that you would still want to make between your professional experience. But in this case, as you say, I would just demonstrate to us why it is that you feel so strongly, why it is you feel so passionately about arts and cultural heritage, and why you think MAGMA would be a good program for you. We have a question also about the career prospects for MAGMA graduates. This is something that we are really interested in, and something I know that a lot of our attendees will be interested in as well. On that front, I do have to say that the MAGMA program is still very new, and in fact, our first cohort of students who joined us in September of 2023 have not yet actually graduated. They're due to graduate in December of this year. So we actually do not have a pool of students who have already graduated for us to give you this insight into the career paths that they have gone on to do. And actually, we're in contact with our current cohort to find out some of the really exciting information and plans that they have after their studies. But I do know that even over the course of the 2 years on the program, some MAGMA students were able to secure excellent opportunities for themselves, whether this is internship or placement opportunities. And I am aware of students who have already applied for further study, doctoral studies, and are pursuing their careers. So I'm hoping that very soon that we'll have some information that we can share, maybe even on the MAGMA website, about all the really exciting routes that our MAGMA graduates have taken, and the kind of institutions that they've then gone on to find themselves in. But thank you for the question. Anyway, I have a question here about okay, so this is about the language eligibility, and in particular about IELTS. So Maria Luisa has the question here. I have the overall IELTS score required for the master's degree, but in one of the IELTS sub-tests, I am half a point short of the score required for the master's degree. Would my application be automatically rejected because of this half-point difference? Well, yes, if you for anyone who's got a similar question to that of Maria Luisa, again, I would direct you to the eligibility requirements, and in particular the language eligibility requirements on the MAGMA webpage. I'm sorry to say that we do have to, in the interests of fairness, we do have to be very strict in the application of these guidelines. And unfortunately, the guidelines do not just require an overall result in the test, but they do also require that the individual subsets within that you're also meeting the minimum requirements there. So again, for anyone who's in a similar position who has any questions or any concerns at all about language requirements or about other eligibility criteria, please do check the MAGMA webpage, which have really helpful links to all of this information.
Just to add on that point, Alan, if I may, if you submit your application where your English language is not quite meeting that required entry, then you may still receive a conditional offer to join the program, and you would have to submit your conditions by the end of you would be given a specific deadline in August to meet that, but that is still possible. But I would encourage you to submit a complete and eligible application before you submit, just to save you and just to make sure you get that unconditional offer as well.
Yeah, no, thanks very much, Amy, for that additional info as well. I'm seeing a couple of questions here from individuals. We've got one from Hannah, and we also have one from Sarangay about portfolios. So we have a question here. I'm a designer pivoting to management. Do you need to see my portfolio? And Hannah asks, how do I incorporate my rich portfolio, which is in the form of a website? Where would I add the link? I believe it's a very necessary part of my application. So on this topic, we do have students who have come onto the program who have more of a practical background and experience in the art world, whether that's in fine art or in architecture, photography, or in design, who have applied to the program. There again, actually, the personal statement is the main opportunity for you again to just distill into that text box everything about your background, about your kind of your rich experience that speaks to the program. So if you do have more of a practical background in one of these areas, in design and photography, it's not necessary for you to evidence the actual portfolio of work. You don't have to show us your photography or your design or your architecture skills, but you can absolutely talk about that in depth and detail in your application, and tell us why this background, why this grounding in the practical side, the practical aspects of the art world, of the art market, has given you the knowledge, has given you the experience to make a great contribution to the MAGMA program, and also has given you a desire to pursue your interests and your passion in this new direction. So it's not actually necessary for you to demonstrate the kind of the practice-based side of your experience, but please do talk about it, tell us about it in the personal statement, and most importantly, tell us why now you think it's right to make that transition, maybe from that more practice-based background into an academic program like managing art and cultural heritage in global markets. Okay, so let's just have a look here. Winter has also actually asked a really useful question all about any support from MAGMA around internships, placements, networking events. So again, while the MAGMA consortium does not directly organize work placements or internship opportunities for students on the program, because it's such a rich, such an intensive program already. The view of the consortium is that there is not a sort of a formal place within the program for these kinds of opportunities. It is nevertheless the case that the University of Glasgow, as well as each of our partner institutions, does maintain strong links to relationships with museums, galleries, auction houses, other cultural institutions and foundations, art market professionals in each of the host countries and further afield. And so it is nevertheless possible for us to make those networks available to you, and to give you maybe some informal support and an encouragement And there are also internship and placement opportunities that are open, for instance, to all students at the University of Glasgow, that MAGMA students are perfectly welcome to apply to. And I know that MAGMA students have been successful previously when applying to these internship opportunities at institutions like, say, the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, Texas, where we have been successful in placing MAGMA students on placement. So there will still be opportunities for you to expand your networks and to get some of this great professional experience that I'm sure a lot of you are interested in gaining over the course of the 2 years on the program. Okay, so let's just have a continued look down here. We've still got, we're still doing pretty well for time. I've got a question here from Salima. Can you kindly give us some insights on the letter of recommendation? What would a successful letter of recommendation look like? Just as I kind of mentioned previously, that there are a lot there's a real breadth of what a successful personal statement might look like. Similarly, there's a breadth of what a successful recommendation letter might look like. But what I would always look to is some detailed personal knowledge of the applicant. So a letter of recommendation that we received that was perhaps very generic, or that perhaps didn't really speak to that candidate's viability as a potential applicant to the MAGMA program specifically, might not be as strong as a recommendation letter where the referee is able to demonstrate in some way to support the case for why you as an applicant, based on their knowledge of you, based on your academic background or voluntary or professional experience, why you would be a good fit for the program. So yes, if you're thinking about what makes a strong letter of recommendation, I would say demonstrating that personal awareness of you as a student or as an employee, or in whatever capacity your referee knows you, and why specifically you would be a really good fit for the MAGMA program. That's something that I certainly would look for. Lyra is asking the question, I have a liberal arts BA in English literature and music, and my MA is in medieval studies, which is literature and history focused. The website did not include literature as an acceptable option. Can I still apply? Yes, absolutely. So I think it flashed on screen a moment ago, the sort of the eligibility criteria, and we do have a list on the webpage that, as you say, Lyra, sort of sets out some of the areas that we think are a particularly good fit, a particularly strong fit for the MAGMA program. But just because your specific subject area is not listed there does not mean that you cannot apply, or that you should not apply to the MAGMA program. Again, all I would advise is that you find some way to demonstrate in your application materials, in your personal statement, for instance, why it is that your academic background in this area does make you a particularly good fit, a strong fit for the MAGMA program. So you might want to talk a little bit about individual option courses or modules that you studied during the course of your degree that you think would be a really close fit with MAGMA. Or again, if there's nothing in particular in your academic background that's a close fit for MAGMA, that's where you would want to supplement your statement with some additional information around your interests, your passions, your voluntary experience, your professional experience in the arts and cultural heritage field, just to give us that level of reassurance that you're aware of what the programme is all about and the kind of contribution that you would be able to make to it. Okay, so yes, I'm seeing that we are coming up on 10 minutes before the chat finishes, but please do, yes, keep your questions coming, and we will seek to answer those. I know as well as the questions that we've been getting here in the chat, we've also been receiving questions around what makes for a successful application, what makes for a particularly strong application. Again, I would just reiterate the points that I've already made around the fact that we really want to hear about you personally, your individual experience, how from your particular corner of the world, your knowledge and awareness of the arts and cultural heritage sector, where you are, how that can help strengthen and enrich the MAGMa program, because having this cohort of students that have a real breadth of individual experience is what really does help to enrich and strengthen our program. So we've got a question here from Naya. What is the time period the admissions team takes to evaluate the applications? What is the expected number of total applications for this year? Are there 20 scholarships also for this cohort? Well, yes, so as you can see on screen, any questions around admissions or kind of applications processes or timelines are probably best directed via the inquiry link that you can see on screen. Amy set out a little earlier that the scholarship applications have already opened. So they opened on the 1st of October 2025, and I know that we have already received quite a good number, a large number of applications so far, and we certainly expect that to continue. The deadline for scholarship applications is the 19th of January 2026, and successful applicants, successful scholarship applicants should expect to find out, I think we said in April, Amy, April of 2026,
Yes.
the results of that. So I'm aware that for those of you who have perhaps already submitted your scholarship application, it will be a little nerve-wracking to wait to find out if you were successful in the scholarship application until April of 2026. But as Amy, I think also you mentioned earlier, applicants may still receive a conditional offer, which is really about a space on the program and is not related to a scholarship award.
Yes, so our admissions team are reviewing applications on a rolling basis. So you should receive a response fairly soon after submitting your application. In terms of the scholarship, you'll find out in April, and we can tell you that we've got a max of 23 scholarships to award this year for September 26 entry. And it's very hard to tell you the number of applications we'll receive in total, but last year it was over 700 applications for 22 scholarships that were allocated. So it is hugely competitive. The programme sees a lot of interest every single year, and it is an extremely difficult decision for the scholarship selection committee, which is made up of all of our partner universities. But yeah, as Alan said, any other specific admissions inquiries, you are best to direct them to our admissions inquiry form that's been linked on the screen.
Yeah, no, yes, thank you, Amy. Yes, so it is worth saying that obviously these are really prestigious scholarships. This is an excellent opportunity. So competition is tight, and again, that's why I do think that the best thing that you can do to make your application the strongest is to be as specific as possible in your personal statement as to why the program is a great fit for you, why you are a great fit for the program in terms of your background, your knowledge, your experience. And I think actually this relates to a question that I can see from Jaybird, which has come in, which is asking about the dissertation idea. So you say here in the scholarship personal letter, you ask for a brief indication of your dissertation idea for year 2. How specific should we be in describing this? Well, yes, just on that point, I would say that what we're really looking for is just some demonstration of your awareness of the kind of complexities, the kind of issues that you will encounter as hopefully a student, a scholar on the MAGMa program, your awareness of issues affecting institutions, arts and cultural heritage institutions and organizations. So having some general idea of a potential dissertation topic is one way that you can tell us all about your awareness of these areas, as well as your interest in and your passion for this topic. So please don't worry at all that you will be held to this just because you include a dissertation idea in your application does not, of course, mean that when it comes to the second year on the program and it comes time for you to submit a proposal, that therefore that you'll be held to this in some way. That's not the case. It's really just to get a little more of a sense on really what are you passionate about? What kind of topics would you like to see covered in the kind of in-depth research that we would expect of a master's dissertation. We've got a question here as well. It's a bit more of a practical question around the kind of information that you might need to provide. Is it Ferry de Terzi has asked the question about whether you would need to provide a high school certificate or a degree certificate. So no, you do not need to submit high school certificates. A university transcript would suffice on that one. So thank you very much for your question on that. So we have 5 minutes remaining. So let's see here if we have 1 or 2 questions that we can answer quite briefly. Okay, so we have a couple of questions here from Costanza. This is more of a program question. After reading the web, I know there is a majority of in-person component, but there's also online lessons with Glasgow. Yes, that is the case, Constanza. The vast majority of the MAGMa program is taught in person, on site, at the mobility locations. So you will be taught in person in Lisbon, you will be taught in person in Paris, and in person in Rotterdam. It's only the Glasgow courses. So in semester 1, the Glasgow course is interdisciplinary research methods. In semester 2, you'll have me for my Cultures of Collecting course. And in semester 3, my colleague Krista Root will be delivering a course on provenance and restitution. These courses you will engage with online. And where possible, we will try to run some sessions in person. I'm always very keen for an excuse for a trip to Paris, so I would be more than happy to deliver a session in person of my course. And similarly, I know previously Krista has delivered some sessions for her course in person in Rotterdam. So yes, so it's only the Glasgow component. It's only the Glasgow element of the programme that is delivered online. The other teaching is all done on site, in person at the mobility locations. And we've got a question here from Anuj. How does the selection committee assess applicants with interdisciplinary or non-traditional academic backgrounds? Well, this is a really good question, and I think it does just relate back to some points that I've made previously about the fact that if you, for instance, have an undergraduate degree in an area that is maybe not as close a fit with the MAGMA program as it could be, please, don't be dissuaded. If you have something else within your background, whether that's professional experience, whether that is work experience, whether that is voluntary experience, or just any way really that you can demonstrate an interest in, a passion for, an enthusiasm for the arts and cultural heritage sector, please do include it, because absolutely the scholarship selection committee is very much focused on not only applicants with a strong academic background or a kind of a close professional fit with the MAGMA program, but we're really looking for any kind of demonstration you can give us for your interest in, your passion for the areas of arts and cultural heritage management. So yes, please don't feel that your personal statement just has to recount everything that is in your CV or that is covered by your university transcript. Please also feel free to bring in this information about anything from a kind of non-traditional or non-typically academic background that you nevertheless think would be would make you a great fit for the MAGMA program. I think we had a question there about the specific English language requirements. Is it just TEFL? Is it just IELTS? Again, we have information on all of the various language certifications on our website. And so you can see on screen again, you can check the eligibility criteria around that. Yes, so if you follow that link, that should give you all the information that you need there. Okay, well, I can see that we have come to, we have 60 seconds left before the end of the session. So perhaps that's only just enough time for me to thank you, Amy, for being here with me, and thank the colleagues behind the scenes who've been very helpful in posting some information and replies. And especially thank you to all of you for attending today and for asking your questions. It's always great to see how much interest and enthusiasm there is out there for the MAGMA program. We know that it's an amazing program, an excellent program, and I wish all of you the absolute best of luck with your applications. And I really do hope to be seeing a lot of you next year in Lisbon. So yes, thank you for joining us today. We really hope you enjoyed the session, and best of luck with your applications.